The sticky note is still on my monitor. I wrote it at 6:47 this morning, before Fajr. The setup was clear enough that I needed to write it down, which doesn't happen often. I usually trust my memory more than paper, because paper makes things feel more certain than they actually are. But this morning was different. I wrote it down. Entry zone, direction, target, stop. 4 lines. Blue ink. Slightly crooked because the pen ran out halfway and I had to press harder than I should have. EURUSD. Long 1.0842, 1.0847 entry. TP 1.0920, SL 1.08118. It moved. Exactly the way I said it would. The sweep down, the liquidity grab, the rejection, the reversal. It happened. Candle by candle, like I had scripted it the night before. I was stopped out at 1.0818. The low was 1.0817. 1 pip. 1 single pip below my stop. Then it reversed and ran 41 pips north, almost to my target, while I was making wudhu for dur. So I want to be precise about this. I was not wrong. My analysis was not wrong. The direction was correct. The timing was correct. The move was correct. My stop was 1 pip too tight, and the market found it. The way it always finds stops when it needs liquidity. The way it always seems to know exactly where your line is. And I was out before the trade I was right about had any chance to pay me. I know what the textbook says. Stops exist for a reason. A 1 pip sweep is statistics, not sabotage. It happens. Move on. I know that. But the sticky note is still on my monitor, and I haven't taken it down. It's been 9 hours. The trade is long over. The move I predicted is done. The market has moved on completely, unaware that I'm sitting here with cold coffee and a blue note that says exactly what was going to happen, and it happened, and I still ended the day down. There's a specific kind of loss that's worse than being wrong. Being wrong has a clean exit. You find the error, you fix it, you move forward. Being right and still losing doesn't give you that. You can't study your way out of a 1 pip miss. You can't backtest your way to the version of today where the stop was at 1.085 instead of 1.088. You just sit with it. The kopi is cold. I made it at noon. It's past 9. I should eat something. I don't. Fajr was at 5:12. I was already awake at 4:58. Not because I set an alarm. I don't set alarms for Fajr anymore, or haven't for about 8 months now. My body just knows. I'm not sure if that's discipline or insomnia dressed up as discipline. Either way, I was on the sajjada before the adhan finished. And for those 7 or 8 minutes, there were no charts, no positions, no sticky notes. Just the dark and the quiet and the words I've been saying since I was 9 years old. That's the only part of my day that belongs completely to something else. After I sat on the floor for a few minutes, just sat. The apartment was still dark. The fan in the corner was making its one slightly irregular sound. There's a rhythm to it that I've never fixed. 3 beats normal and then 1 slightly longer, like a small exhale. I've been meaning to get it looked at since March. It's now late in the year. I've stopped noticing it except at 5:15 in the morning when everything else is quiet. I made the coffee standing up. 1 cup, no sugar. The kind of black that leaves a ring on the inside of the mug that won't wash off completely. I drink it the same way every morning, standing at the kitchen counter, looking at nothing specific, giving my brain a few more minutes before I ask it to start working. The chart had been loading in the background since last night. I do that sometimes, leave the analysis open overnight so when I come back in the morning, I see it fresh, the way you're supposed to read something you've written, with enough distance that it stops looking like yours. The EURUSD setup was still clean. That was the first thing I noticed. Usually when I check a setup in the morning that I built the night before, there's some small doubt that comes in. Did I miss something? Is this bias? Why does this feel different in daylight? There was none of that. The structure was intact. The logic held. The entry zone was valid. The sweep I was expecting hadn't happened yet. I had time. I wrote the sticky note. Pen ran out halfway. I pressed harder. Stuck it to the bottom corner of my monitor where I put things I actually mean. Then I ate half a packet of biscuits, realized they were from last week, ate the other half anyway, and opened the broker platform. There was one message on my phone. My mother. A forwarded article about some herbal supplement that's apparently good for focus and concentration. She sends me these maybe twice a week now. I think she's figured out that I spend a lot of time staring at screens, and she's worried in a way she doesn't know how to say directly. I typed inshallah and put the phone face down on the desk. Market opened. I was ready. That's the part that makes today harder, actually. I was ready. The European session doesn't open the same way every day. Most people think it does. Fixed time, same players, same logic. And technically, yes, the clock says the same thing every morning. But the character of the open changes. Some mornings it's controlled, deliberate, like a room where everyone knows what they're doing. Other mornings there's something in the first 30 minutes that feels like arguing. Price moving with too much energy in too many directions, like nobody agrees on anything yet. This morning was the second kind. I watched it from 8:02 to 8:34 without touching anything. Both hands on the desk, not on the keyboard. Just watching. My analyst brain, the part that still thinks like a researcher, that still wants to observe before it concludes, that part was satisfied. The price action was exactly the kind of noisy uncertainty that precedes a clean directional move. I've seen this pattern enough times that I've stopped needing to convince myself. It just looks like something I recognize. The entry zone was 1.0842 to 1.0847. At 8:41, price dipped to 1.0844. I entered long. One finger, one click. No hesitation, no second guessing at the moment of execution. Which matters, because the moment of execution is where most of my psychology problems live. I've entered trades with the wrong data because I second-guessed good data at the last second. Not today. Today the click was clean, then the waiting. This is the part nobody talks about honestly. The trade is placed, the stop is set, the target is set. There is genuinely nothing left to do except not interfere, which sounds simple and is absolutely not simple. I've ruined more good trades in the waiting phase than in any other phase. The market moves slightly against you and your hands want to do something, because doing something feels like control, and control feels like safety, even when the thing you're about to do is the least safe thing possible. I sat on my hands, literally. Both palms under my thighs, elbows out, watching the screen the way you watch something you're not allowed to touch. Price moved down to 1.0839, floating minus, small, within the setup's expected range. I told myself this 3 times. Then the phone vibrated. Not a notification, a call. My friend Dimas. We've been trying to schedule a motor service together for 3 weeks. His bike needs a chain, mine needs something the mechanic described as the usual but worse. I didn't answer. Sent a quick message. Lagi entry nanti balas. He replied immediately with a thumbs up, and then, 2 seconds later, a voice note I didn't listen to. I put the phone face down again. Price was at 1.0836, still within range, still valid, still fine. I told myself that too. 1.0831. I took my hands out from under my thighs and placed them on the desk. Not on the keyboard. Just on the desk, flat, the way you set something down that you don't want to use yet, but want to be close to. The setup allowed for this. The entry zone was 1.0842 to 1.0847. And the stop was at 1.0818, which meant the structure had room. The logic of the setup had room. Price was still inside the boundaries of what I had designed. I knew this. I kept saying this inside my head the way you repeat a number you're trying not to forget. Still valid. Still valid. Still valid. 1.0828. The thing about a trade going against you is that it doesn't move in one direction dramatically. It moves in small, almost apologetic increments. A few pips down, a small bounce, down again, another small bounce, and each bounce gives you false hope, and each continuation after the bounce takes something from you. And by the time you've gone through 4 or 5 of these cycles, you've lost the bounce hope so many times that your body starts tensing before the bounce even fails. You're already grieving the next move before it happens. My jaw was tight. I noticed it the way you notice something that's been true for a while, but you only just registered it. I consciously relaxed it. It tightened again within about 40 seconds. 1.0824. Demas sent another message. I didn't look at what it said. Here's what I want to be honest about, because this is a diary, and I promised myself I would write the versions of things that are actually true. Somewhere around 1.0826, I thought about closing the trade manually, not because the setup was invalid, not because the analysis had changed, because I was scared. And when I'm scared, my hands want to do something, and closing the trade is the most available something there is. I thought about it for probably 90 seconds, calculated what the manual loss would be versus the stop loss. Told myself closing early is just moving the stop in the worst possible direction. After the fact, with emotion instead of logic, I didn't close it. 1.0820, 2 pips from my stop. My hand was resting near the trackpad, not on it, near it. There's a difference that matters. On it means you're about to do something. Near it means you're telling yourself you're not going to do anything while keeping the option open in case you decide to lie to yourself. I was lying to myself. 1.0818. The platform closed the trade. Minus 26 pips. The number sat there on the screen clean and final, the way numbers are always cleaner than the feelings attached to them. I leaned back in the chair. Both hands went to my face. Slow, from forehead to chin. The kind of movement that's not frustration exactly. It's something quieter than that. Something that doesn't have a clean name. I sat there. 30 seconds. Maybe more. Then I looked at the chart. 1.0817 was the wick low. Then it went to 1.0822 to 1. Then 1.0830. Then 1.0844. Then 1.0868. Then 1.0891. My target was 1.0920. It got to 1.0903 before the session slowed. I watched it go. Every pip. I didn't close the platform, didn't look away, didn't make coffee, didn't move. I just watched it go exactly where I said it would go, without me in it, because my stop was at 1.088, and the low was 1.0817, and 1 pip is apparently the difference between a trade that works and a number that sits on your screen in red for the rest of the day. I didn't close the platform. I don't know why. The trade was done. The session was moving on without me. There was no reason to keep watching a chart I was no longer in. But I kept it open, and I kept watching, and I think I was waiting for something. Some kind of confirmation that what I saw was real, that the market had actually done that the number I was reading was the number that had actually happened. It was. Here is the thing about this specific kind of loss that I've never been able to explain properly. It doesn't make you angry. That's what I always expect. Anger, the hot kind, the kind that wants to punch something or place another trade immediately to recover the feeling of being in control. That didn't come. What came instead was something much quieter and somehow harder to sit with. A flatness. A full stop in the middle of the day where everything just paused. I've read enough about decision fatigue and emotional processing to understand what the brain does after a loss. The dopamine system had built an expectation. The setup was right. The direction was right. The target was real. When the outcome inverts, the system doesn't just reset. It has to undo the anticipation before it can process the result. That takes time, and it feels like nothing, which is its own kind of difficult. I used to explain it to students the same way I think about controls in an experiment. A stop loss isn't a plan B. It's the boundary condition you define before the experiment begins. The line that says, if results fall outside this range, the data is inconclusive, not the hypothesis. The hypothesis was correct. The data came back inconclusive by 1 unit. You don't throw out the research method because one trial touched the boundary. You note it. You run the next trial. I know that. I still sat there for 23 minutes without moving. When I finally stood up, my lower back had that specific stiffness that means I've been tense without realizing it. The kind that isn't from sitting still, but from sitting rigid. I stretched in the narrow space between the desk and the window. The apartment felt smaller than usual. That happens sometimes when a session goes wrong. The walls don't actually move, but the room contracts somehow around the weight of a number. My phone showed 3 unread messages, a missed call from a number I didn't recognize, and a low battery warning at 17%. Demas had sent a voice note that was 1 minute and 42 seconds long, which means he had something to say. The motor service came to mind. We'd been putting it off long enough that the mechanic had started recognizing my name when I called to reschedule. The loss today was the kind that translates. It was 2 weeks of groceries. It was the service cost I'd been delaying. It was a specific number attached to specific things I had wanted to do with it. I plugged in my phone and didn't listen to the voice note yet. The Adhan Fardor came through the window from the masjid 2 blocks east, slightly delayed from the one on my phone app, the way it always is. The real sound arriving just after the digital version, like an echo that comes first. I rolled down my sleeves. The masjid is 2 minutes on foot if I walk fast, 4 if I don't. I didn't walk fast. There's something about walking to prayer after a loss that feels different from walking to prayer on a regular day. Not better, not worse, different in texture. On regular days, prayer is a structure I step into. It holds the day in place, divides it into sections that make the hours more manageable. After a loss, it becomes something I need rather than something I do. There's a distinction there that I think about sometimes. I'm not sure it's entirely comfortable to examine. Wudhu first, in the small ablution area off the main entrance. The water was cold in the way tap water is cold in the middle of the day. Not refreshing, just neutral. I went through the motions slowly. There was nobody rushing me. The courtyard was mostly empty at this hour. A few older men. A boy who couldn't have been more than 12 sitting against the wall eating something from a plastic bag. A man in a delivery jacket who must have been passing through. Inside, the air was the temperature of a room that stays cool because the walls are thick. I found a spot in the second row, sat down, waited for the Iqama. For those few minutes, I was not a trader. I was not someone who had been stopped out by 1 pip. I was not someone with a sticky note on his monitor and 23 minutes of sitting rigid in a chair. I was just someone in the second row, saying the same words I've been saying since I was 9 years old, in a room that has been here longer than my problems. That's it. That's all I can say about it that is actually true. Demas's voice note was about the motor service. He'd found a new mechanic, someone his cousin recommended, apparently more honest about pricing than the one we'd both been going to, which set a very low bar because our previous mechanic once charged me for a part I'm almost certain he reused from another bike. Demas wanted to go on Thursday. He wanted to know if I was free. He ended the note with something about me I am afterward, at the place near the workshop that we'd been to twice and which I remembered mainly because the broth was better than it had any right to be given the plastic furniture and the broken ceiling fan. I called him back instead of sending a voice note. He picked up immediately. Bro, tadi gimana? I told him the session was fine. I don't know why I said that. It wasn't a lie I had planned. It just came out before I could choose something more accurate. He didn't push. We talked about Thursday, the mechanic, the me I am. Normal things at a normal volume in a normal conversation that had nothing to do with candlestick formations or stop placements or 1 pip margins. It was good, actually. I hadn't spoken to anyone out loud all day. After I hung up, I realized I was hungry. Actually hungry. The kind that has moved past asking politely and is now leaving notes. I hadn't eaten since the biscuits at 5:30 in the morning. It was past 2 in the afternoon. I'd been running the day on coffee that had gone cold and whatever energy the body manufactures out of stress and stubbornness. There was rice in the rice cooker from yesterday, some leftover tempeh, an egg I could fry in the time it takes to heat the pan. I ate standing at the kitchen counter the way I'd made the coffee that morning, looking at nothing specific, letting the food be food without making it mean something. The tempeh was fine. The rice was slightly dry. The egg was overcooked because I left it 30 seconds too long while I was looking at my phone. I ate all of it. Outside, a motor passed with a loud exhaust that needed attention. 2 kids on bicycles. The tukang bakso cart with its specific bell that I've been hearing since I moved into this apartment. The same rhythm, the same route. Every day around 2:15 regardless of what's happening on anyone's chart. The world had continued. It had been continuing all day. It hadn't waited for the 1.0817 wick to matter less before it sent the tukang bakso past my window on schedule. I washed the plate, put it on the drying rack, walked back to my desk. The sticky note was still on the monitor. I looked at it for a moment. EURUSD, long, 1.0842, 1.0847, TP 1.0920, SL 1.0818, 4 lines, blue ink, slightly crooked where the pen ran out. I left it there. It's 9:47 p.m. I know this because I just checked my phone for the first time in about 2 hours. Not because I needed to know the time, but because my eyes had been on the screen long enough that I needed something else to look at, and the phone was the closest object. I did not open another trade this afternoon. I want to write that down because it matters and because it was not easy. After a loss like today, a loss where you were right, which is somehow the more dangerous kind, there is a version of me that reaches for the next session the way you reach for your phone when you're uncomfortable, not because you need it, because not reaching feels wrong. The market was open for another 6 hours after I was stopped out. 6 hours of price moving, setups forming, opportunities that may or may not have existed depending on how generously I want to read the afternoon structure. I stayed out of all of it. I reviewed. I didn't trade. There's a difference that cost me several months to actually believe in. Isha was at 8:23. I prayed at home this time. The sajada is navy blue, slightly faded at the edges from use, folded in the corner of the room the way it always is. I unfolded it facing slightly left of where I always think is correct, adjusted, prayed. The apartment was quiet. Just the fan in its rhythm. 3 beats and 1 long, 3 beats and 1 long. I've stopped thinking about fixing it. After I sat for a while with my back against the foot of the bed, legs out, doing nothing specific. Just breathing. The kind of stillness that happens when the day runs out of things to push at you and you're finally just in a room at night. I thought about the trade, not in the way I'd been thinking about it all day, not with the grinding, rerunning quality of someone replaying a car accident. More like examining something at a distance, a data point I needed to place correctly before I could close the file. Here is what I know. I built the right experiment. I defined the boundary conditions before the trial began. The result touched the boundary by 1 unit, and the protocol correctly terminated the trial. What happened after? The 41 pip move, the 1.0903 high, the market going exactly where the hypothesis said it would go. That data belongs to a different trial, one I was not in. Mixing those results with my result is bad science. It's how you end up changing methods that don't need changing, because you're grieving an outcome rather than evaluating a process. The stop was valid. 1 pip is not a sign. It's a sample size of 1. I know all of this. I also know that I have been sitting in this apartment since 8:41 this morning with a sticky note on my monitor that says exactly what was going to happen, and it happened, and the number at the end of my trading day is still red. Both of those things are true at the same time. I've stopped trying to make one of them cancel out the other. The phone is at 63%. I charged it this afternoon and then forgot about it in the way you forget about things that don't need attention. Dimas confirmed Thursday for the motor service. I replied with a thumbs up and then stared at the confirmation screen for a few seconds because sometimes the small logistics of a normal life feel far away on a day like today. Not unreachable, just far. I got up, went to the kitchen, stood at the counter. There was nothing I actually needed from the kitchen. I opened the refrigerator, looked at it for approximately 10 seconds. Eggs, half a block of tempeh, 2 bottles of water, something in a container I didn't inspect, and closed it without taking anything. Not hungry, not thirsty, just needed to move through a different room for a moment. That's a thing I do that I've never told anyone. The refrigerator walk. It means the day is winding down and my brain is cycling off but hasn't fully accepted it yet. I went back to the desk. The sticky note was still there. I looked at it for a long time. EURUSD, long, 1.0842, 1.0847, TP 1.0920, SL 1.0818, 4 lines, blue ink. The slight pressure difference in the last 2 lines where the pen ran dry, and I pushed harder to keep it going. I peeled it off the monitor. I didn't throw it away. I put it face down on the pile of papers to the left of the keyboard, the pile that has invoices and old trade notes and a receipt from the motor workshop from 6 weeks ago that I keep forgetting to file. It's face down, so I can't read it. But it's still there. I'm aware of it the way you're aware of something you're not ready to decide about yet. Maybe tomorrow I'll throw it away. Maybe I'll find it in 3 weeks and barely remember what day it was from. Maybe that's fine. The fan is still doing its thing. 3 beats, 1 long. 3 beats, 1 long. I should sleep. I won't for at least another hour. There's something I keep returning to tonight, not as a lesson. I'm too tired for lessons. But as a question I haven't finished with yet. Every trading system has a tolerance. Every stop has a distance. Every experiment has a margin of error that the researcher accepts before the trial begins, because if you only accept results that land exactly where you predicted, you're not doing science. You're just looking for confirmation. I accepted the margin. I designed it. I placed it at 1.0818 because that was the number that made logical sense before emotion was involved. The low was 1.0817, 1 pip outside my accepted margin. And I keep wondering, not tonight, I mean in general, the longer version of this question, at what point does the accepted margin become the thing I'm wrong about, instead of the outcome? Because I've been a researcher. I know what happens when the anomaly keeps appearing at the edge of the tolerance. At some point you stop calling it noise. At some point you redesign the experiment. I don't know if today is that point. I don't know if I'll know when I get there. The sticky note is face down on the pile. The coffee cup from this morning is still on the desk, empty, with the ring at the bottom that won't wash off cleanly. The laptop is still open. The chart is still there, frozen at the close. A session that ended hours ago preserved on the screen like evidence. I'm going to close it now. I'm going to close it slowly, the way I always do when a day costs something. Here is the thing I keep not asking myself, and I'm writing it down tonight because that's what this diary is for. The questions I avoid when the screen is on. If I move the stop to give it 2 more pips of room, I'm a disciplined trader who accounts for spread and noise. If I keep the stop exactly where logic says it belongs and get swept by 1 pip, I'm a disciplined trader who got unlucky. Is there actually a difference between those 2 people? Or am I just deciding which version of myself feels better to be?